Hi, and welcome to the Policy Beast election special. Remember that municipal elections are occurring on May 17th, and the next in our series is current selectman Carl Hakansson, who is running for re-election. Carl, thank you so much for joining us here on our election special. Now, Carl, you've been on the show before, and we've had a chance to talk a little bit about your background, but for those who are not familiar with you and your family, could you tell us who Carl Hakansson is?
Well, I grew up in Ashland, was born and raised here, and I'm a fourth generation of my family here in town. Graduated from Ashland High School and haven't lived here my whole life, but moved back about 10 years ago. So I have really deep roots here on both sides of my family, but particularly my mother's side of the family.
So why are you running for re-election for the Board of Selectmen?
We started something last year after the election with this Board of Selectmen where we put together a vision statement and a mission statement. And it was quite a chore for me because I had been elected to a one-year term. So there were quite a few items in there that we had laid out that we thought were in the best interest of the town. And it's a very comprehensive plan. And we've implemented some of them, and there are still others that need to be addressed.
What are some of the other things that need to be addressed in this comprehensive plan that you're concerned about?
Well, we have the downtown issues of refurbishing downtown, which we hope to start this spring.
What would that entail?
Well, curbs and sidewalks and monuments and flower walls and attracting businesses to downtown. And, trying to make downtown more appealing for people for it to be a destination place for people to not just to shop, but to enjoy themselves in a restaurant or whatever that may be.
In a community gathering.
Yeah, when I was young, getting back to my roots in Ashland, it was the gathering point of town, downtown. Okay. There was a place called the News Store downtown, which was kind of like, it was the central place. It's where people don't necessarily get their papers anymore, but that's where they got their paper and they got their coffee and they talked about the issues of the day. And I think and over the years it's kind of dispersed to other parts of the town. I think that almost everyone, to the person that I've spoken to, would like to see downtown look nicer and have more opportunities there for people to gather and feel like a community. The real heart of our vision statement is to build a community, a holistic community that includes everyone in the community. And so it's a task, and it was a little bit too much, at least for me, to bite off in 1 year. So that's the reason that I'm running for re-election, to fully vet that vision statement.
You mentioned a few of the other items in this comprehensive plan that you said that you had managed to accomplish over the past year. What are some of the things that you managed to execute in this plan?
Well, one of the things that we've done is to start to prioritize land use decisions. One of the problems that I've seen as a land use attorney has been kind of a history of poor land use decisions in Ashland. And not just land use as far as open space. Open space is one of the components. But in order to have control over what we as the town want for the town, oftentimes we need to have control over the land so that we can put whatever it is that may be, whether it be a public safety building or a school or open space or anything of that nature, affordable housing, it should be in the right place. And that can only be dictated if we have some control over the land use issues instead of always the developers having control over the land use issues. So that's one thing. We have started this downtown initiative that we've been working on over the summer. That's another thing. But starting them and implementing them are two different things. One of the other issues that we did finalize last month was to have Framingham State purchase the Warren Center, the Warren Conference Center, from Northeastern and keep it from being developed. And so we're now working with some kind of a plan with the university to integrate the university into the Ashland community. So that's ongoing. And next to the Warren Center is the State Park. And that's something that's been an issue for me, because we as a town need to be more involved with the state and the abutters of the state park to bring the state park back to where it once was, as far as being really a pristine area to be. So those are a few of the things.
So those are a few accomplishments, and we talked about one of the items on your comprehensive plan that you are looking forward to working on if you were to be reelected. What are some of the other issues or projects that have come up in this plan that you would like to continue working on as a selectman?
Like to continue working on? Well, several of the things that I've been involved in. One was the issue of water for the future of the town. How much water do we have? How much water do we need? Where is that water going to come from? How is that water going to be used? So that's an important issue that I've been involved in, that I would like to continue to be involved in. And we're putting together a land priority list of properties that currently, for the most part, are still open spaces, but probably won't be forever. And so what's going to be located on it? Are they adjacent to other open spaces, so we may want to leave them open? Is it a good place for a public safety building that we've talked about in this town for years and years and years? If we need a new school, where would that go? So we're putting together a land priority list as well. One of the other things that I think a lot of people, particularly on this side on the south side of town, would like to see is some kind of finality of the cleanup at Cadillac Paint over on Elliott Street. You know, that's something that started to take place last year, and then the funding dried up, and but it's really been a blight on the town for years and years and years, and it is doable if we have people that are committed to it and committed to seeing it through. So that's another thing. And to make sure that the development in this town is responsible and in the best interest of the town. You know, we have several developments that are ongoing now that that are somewhat controversial, and yes, others that that we've been able to work in a very effective partnership with the landowners. For instance, 466 Chestnut Street, 22 Elliott Street, that area right there. Mm-hmm. That was a 40-acre parcel that 20 acres is coming back to the town along with the old farmhouse. And so it's something that can work out with effective dialogue. And that's something that's taking up, obviously, a lot of our time, both working with developers, planning development of our own, that type of thing.
What are some of the other issues? You've mentioned that the Cadillac Paint issue is something you've heard from constituents about. Mm-hmm. What other issues are you, if you were to be reelected, would you be working diligently with constituents on in town?
Well, one of the issues that I'm not sure that would fit the second half of your question is building a team for Ashland. You know, we've had a lot of turnover in the last couple of years. The Board of Selectmen hired a new town manager in January, and the town manager is putting together his team, and it's a team that hopefully we can hold together in Ashland, and and I think we're starting to develop this that will work cooperatively with the residents and listen to the concerns of the residents, so that the residents feel like they're being included in the decision-making process and not feeling like they're powerless.
It's very important. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the override issue that people are discussing in town right now. Do you have a position on it? What are your concerns?
Well, we were talking a minute ago about things that are taking up a lot of time. That's something, obviously, that's taking up a lot of time, and with the board and with the town and with people in the town. I think, I have the same answer to this that I had last year when I was sitting with you.
Yep.
And that is that I think it's important that the town have a voice on this. At this point last year, that wasn't clear whether the town was going to have an opportunity to vote on it. And subsequent to that, a lot of people worked really hard to put this together. And the Board of Selectmen unanimously approved it to go forward for a vote in the town. And eventually, there are two very important questions. And eventually people have to decide how much they want to and how much they can afford to invest in their community. Because I think when we have these types of conversations, almost to the person, people live in Ashland because they like Ashland and they want Ashland to flourish. And how does that happen? You have 17,000 people that all have differences of opinion of what's important to them. So all of the issues that are addressed in those two questions are all really important issues to someone. And I think that it is very important that we do get a chance to vote on it as a community. What my stance is, I was involved to a certain degree in putting some of these things together, some of the items that were going to be addressed. That's part of a community, and part of a community sometimes is sacrificing your own best interest in the interest of the community as a whole. And again, everyone has their own opinion on where that line is drawn. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Either way, I think that we have to move forward as a community and building as a community, both government and the residents.
Carl, we've got about a minute left, so I'm going to ask you one last question. Carl, why should the voters consider voting for you for re-election?
Well, I would hope that they feel that I have a grasp of the issues, first of all, and a grasp of what makes Ashland tick. I currently live here, but I have deep roots here. So,
Ashland tick, was that a Clocker reference?
Oh, that's a good one. And I'm also, I have over my career been able to build coalitions of people that sometimes I agree with and people that sometimes we don't agree on things, but we can come together for the best interest of whatever it is that we're working on. That's what I've done my whole career as an attorney, is to build coalitions. I've tried to start to build these same coalitions of disparate people and disparate groups in this town and be able to speak with both sides. And I think that is something that's unique to my candidacy and would be beneficial to the community going forward.
We're going to have to leave it right there. Carl Hakansson, thank you so much for joining us for the election special. And remember, the municipal elections are taking place on May 17th. Please get out there and vote. And thank you very much for joining us for this very special segment. We'd love to hear from you here at Policy Beast, and there are a lot of ways to get in touch with us. You can follow us on Twitter at PolicyBeastTV. We have a Facebook fan page. Look us up on Facebook. You can also email us at policybeasttv@gmail.com.